Hi, and welcome to another edition of Ciao Falmouth. This is our third program of academic school year 2021-2022. And my name is Pat DePillo. I'm the World Language Department Chair for the Falmouth Public Schools. And this is the program where we talk about anything and everything that applies to world language learning in the district. I would like to catch everyone up from where I left off in the fall, actually, in a certain topic, because there have been some further developments. And the major one is a focus on professional development. World language teachers are spending the year focusing on interpersonal communication in preparation for our proficiency testing that will take place in June. For the sophomore, junior, and senior classes, this testing will comprise their final exams. And the testing is not specifically restricted to interpersonal communication. There are 4 modes: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But typically the interpersonal speaking skill is the one that requires the most attention, because there are strategies for each different skill level and skill in general, but this is the one that for some reason, we use the data to determine, our needs for improvement, etc. And the data from the testing this spring will show us where more work needs to be done. So we have, consultants that tape videos for us that we use during in-service days. We have teachers attend, different events like conferences, and, Cape Cod Collaborative offers something. And as well as, there are lots of podcasts, and there are lots of language materials on Twitter and Facebook, and, things that I find, and supply teachers with on a weekly basis when I write my memo. And so at this point in the year, speaking of the testing, we're at the point where we're planning how to give this testing as final exams. Here it involves finals, and in grade 8 it involves finals. But it requires some prior planning in order to schedule how this gets accomplished. Here we use the World Language Lab so that teachers who have juniors and seniors and sophomores can use their regularly scheduled lab time to test students. Now, seniors must do that in April, and if parents need any information, you can go to the World Language website, because that's, I wrote a newsletter in the fall that explains all the testing, the dates, criteria, what the levels of, the seal of biliteracy look like, what scores you have to attain, what comprises how you earn the seal, and a lot of, important information. And those seniors will be doing that in April, because, of course, they're done in May, and we have to have some small awards ceremony for them in May to award them their, we give them medals, we have cords at graduation, but, we invite parents and have a little get-together, little social get-together to award the students who have earned the seal and earned the seal with distinction. Juniors and sophomores can use their regularly scheduled lab time. Seniors and juniors usually will be able to finish this testing in 3.5 to 4 hours. Sophomores may take a little longer. And so teachers are now gearing up to learn what the testing is all about, because sophomore teachers have never given this before. The department has to look at a lot of prep work for teachers and how to translate, quote unquote, the numbers that students earn into, a grading system that Power School and Schoology will accept. Like, if I'm, a senior and all my scores are 6s, then I'm intermediate high. But how does that translate into a grade? Is it an A? We have to look at all those things. Ditto for advanced low. If I get all 7s, that's what that means. Or a combination of 6, 7, it all depends. I've earned the seal if I'm intermediate high on, or I've earned the seal with distinction if I'm advanced low on, according to the numbers. So there's a lot of that work that is just beginning now. The other piece that is new since the fall is CAL, which is the Center for Applied Linguistics, and DESE, which is our Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, have partnered to present a rollout, and they're calling it volunteer implementation, of the new world language standards. So I am a team leader for the classics teachers, which means that we preview and review a lot of materials that they put together for webinars, etc., about the standards. And then we convene a group of, in my case, the Latin teachers who are aligning their current units according to the standard alignment guide, which is the template. And includes newer elements like some are implicit, some are explicit. Social justice, diversity, equity, inclusion, social emotional learning, sheltered English immersion, all the, new, I don't want to say buzzwords, but a lot of the new elements, not just strictly, it does define the proficiency levels, and it does talk about integrated performance assessments, which is what we give throughout the year, and what those expectations are and what teachers can look for. But it actually defines the levels. In other words, I'm a novice high if I can, speak in sentences, or actually a novice high is included with intermediate low, intermediate mid. You are not fully intermediate speaking student unless you are consistent with speaking in a paragraph, using transition words, asking and answering questions. If I'm inconsistent, I'm still at those other levels. And so it explains all that to teachers. So these materials are very, very good. So those are the kinds of things that teachers will be looking at as we next year go through our curriculum revision. This year, as I said, we devoted to interpersonal speaking. So we're working on techniques and strategies that teachers create tasks for students to accomplish. There are many things that you can call it. Talk the talk, talk read, talk write. Those are all different ways to, provide students with enough input to be able to have them be comprehensible, not necessarily strictly accurate. It's not about accuracy. As you go through the levels, teachers can assign certain criteria that they expect students to, have. The grammar has not disappeared. It's just subsumed. Instead of, okay, we're going to learn verb conjugation and we're going to learn a lot of vocabulary. Why are we learning that? Well, we're learning that so we be able to communicate and have a conversation. So that's the main goal. And all the grammar and the vocabulary is supportive and subservient to that. Not that it's lesser, but it's a support system. There are language functions. There are, specific things that speakers are required to do to make themselves comprehensible. And so that's, an important factor in looking at curriculum. And ours is all, we do have a lot of UBD units because the NEASC accreditation was just here in the fall. I have them organized by level and proficiency target, but not all those grids that I have are not all populated yet, and yet we need to go through those and make sure we're current with them, because some of them were created, in 2015, 2014. We started a while ago, and we've learned a lot over the years about proficiency, and we're continuing to learn a lot about proficiency. So every once in a while, things have to, and this was a good opportunity because obviously the rollout of the World Language Standards was 2021, and here we are learning how to do it, and next year we'll actually put it into practice. So other than that, next week we're gearing up for World Language Week. That's the second week in March, where the governor submits a proclamation indicating to the Commonwealth that this is a week that will be devoted to the study and understanding of world languages and cultures, signed by Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Ippolito. Here in the news studio, students of French, Spanish, Latin, and we're going to try and, get others for Thursday and Friday of next week to do the morning news. We have a Salsera group coming in this afternoon for an hour to teach dance to Spanish Foreigners Honor Society. And next week we have a Colombian chef coming in to make arepas on Monday afternoon. He is Molly Drain's, our Spanish teacher's husband, and is kind enough to come in and make these for us so that we have samples. And other than that, teachers have, lots of things planned for their own classrooms. So it brings focus to the fact that, we are a diverse group in a building, and it's not these days not just confined to us. As I am going to welcome Tegan Lynn to be my guest, and she will further expound on what diversity might look like in a building, and how she, who is president of the sophomore class, intends to make that happen. As you heard me mention in my opening remarks about World Language Week and the volunteer implementation teams, and our new, which are all about our new World Language Standards and frameworks, they have a lot of new elements, such as social justice, equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, social emotional learning. And so I have invited Tegan Lind here today to talk with me about her ideas on diversity. Now, Tegan is the president of the sophomore class, and so we have met with her, Mr. McMenamin, Mr. St. Julian, Ms. O'Brien, Ms. Ahern, and Ms. Riley, to discuss, things that she would like to accomplish this year. And so she's going to tell us all about that. And I asked her, do you have any plans for your junior year, should you be elected president, and your senior year, which, in case you're elected president, is that typical? If you're sophomore president, will you be junior president, senior president?
I don't think it's 100% determined, but I feel like I have a pretty good chance, but there are some good contenders that could also get it.
Okay, well, you have to really promote your topic here, and if your student colleagues and companions, classmates like it, then
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to have a conversation with Tegan, and we'll see what she has to talk about, and we'll just continue.
Okay, so the basic idea and things that I want to accomplish have to do with the clubs we already have at school. So I would like to use some of the resources we have, like French Club, Latin Club, Spanish Honor Society, French National Honor Society, United Worlds Club, Gay Straight Alliance, and Glam Girl are just a couple examples of the clubs we would use. But we would basically collaborate with them to create certain events throughout the year to recognize people with different ethnic backgrounds and who are different, because I'm all about celebrating diversity and coming together as a class with those ideas. So some examples were for Black History Month, we had people come up on the news to talk about important Black figures in society that aren't always recognized but should be recognized today. We could have Women's History Month. We're working on getting female athletes and speakers come in for that. And just for focusing more on the foreign language and stuff like that, we could, for Cinco de Mayo, have speakers with information, and we're working on having a Colombian chef come in to share his culture and make a little dish that we could try to expose the students to, as well as having some education with that. And Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month is June, and that's coming up too. And also just Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, which is September and October, which has already passed, but we'd work on that for next year. But basically all the plans and all the ideas we have is just being exposed to other cultures so we can hear their ideas and see where they come from, so that we can better understand each other and collaborate with each other as a class. So yeah, just celebrating diversity.
I think your ideas are terrific. Tell me something. I wasn't aware we had a United World Alliance. What is that all about?
They just started this club up recently. I haven't been to it, but a couple of my friends go to it. But it's basically about, they said it on the morning news, celebrating different cultures and learning about them, about the United Worlds. And then I think they have discussions, and then they have a trip possibly to go and have like debates about the different countries, I believe. But I don't know 100%, but
sounds very good to me.
Yeah.
Tell me something else. We have in Falmouth, obviously all districts have them, but our communities, and education foundations. Now, our Falmouth Education Foundation, are students eligible to apply for grant monies?
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think we are. We're trying to apply for our class just to work with some of these events. I think.
Okay, so you've already thought of that, because that was
Yes.
one of my first thoughts.
Yes.
That would be a good source of funding to provide, monies to accomplish
Yeah.
a lot of your goals. I think that's all. It sounds terrific to me. Of course, it would, because I'm a world language department chair. So anything that has to do with world language,
Yeah.
global anything, I'm all about that. So that would be an extra added enhancement
Yeah.
to the department, and something like almost like an extension of what we do in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so now it's promoting it outside the classroom and probably within the community, and that's all good.
Yeah.
So
It's things we need today. Yeah.
that is absolutely true. No question about that. Okay, so that's what. Are there specific things you want to accomplish this year, as you talked and we discussed when we all met together? So you have certain plans for the rest of this year, is that right?
Yes, there's certain things that I definitely want to focus on more. The Colombian chef coming in, that's one big thing, because with Spanish Honor Society, we have a salsera group coming in today, 4:30 to 5:30. We're learning. They're going to teach us a dance, and that will be fun. I'm not going to be able to attend because I have a basketball game, but I'm going to get some feedback and see how that goes. But also, we in the Spanish Society ourselves, we're having a little group in the Colombian chef that we would hopefully get later on in the year, just for the sophomore class. He's coming in and doing a demonstration for us, which is amazing. But the main events.
That's next Monday, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that too, so.
Yeah.
Good.
So that should be fun. But just Colombian chef, and I think also just other ideas like Juneteenth,
Yes.
celebrating that with
Yes.
African drum and dance
Absolutely.
working on it.
Yep.
Having them come in.
Yep.
And also just like Pride Month, we can do another activity with that, just being inclusive of everyone.
What about the indigenous populations?
Yes. That.
You have that on your page too.
Yes. So kind of being like what we had earlier this year, we had a group come in
Right.
with a Native American
Right.
of the group that's in our area. So kind of expanding on that current program and having more education. I think we do have a population of who have Native American background who could even speak from their own perspectives from this school that we could hopefully try and get either more demonstrations or speakers and or just hearing from students from that background in our school today.
That's terrific. Very good. Okay, so have we left anything out, or do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about or bring up or have people know? As you probably are aware, Mr. Weber broadcasts this on Channel 14, so this goes out to the community and everybody sees it and hears it.
Yeah. I think just trying to be as inclusive and welcoming as a school as Falmouth Public School, because we're not very super diverse as other schools. We have a lot of that white population, but I think just being inclusive and welcoming those other groups and letting their ideas and beliefs be heard so that we can better understand each other and just work better as a community.
What she's talking about really has a couple of names, one of them being cultural proficiency, and I don't mean it exclusively to be exclusive to one population.
Yeah.
Cultural proficiency means inclusive of all, and intercultural competency is the broader term, because trying to think, I have probably made blunders in my, associations over the years. As a matter of fact, it wasn't my blunder. It's a friend of mine who teaches international business and has good friends who are Bangladeshi, and they are not drinkers. And at one point, I think we were invited to dinner there and brought a bottle of wine, which was a no-no.
Yeah.
Because Arabs don't imbibe. And she is the one who was apologetic because she felt she should have known better and did know better, and I don't know what happened. But there are, I'm sure I have committed other faux pas, but there are certain things that for example, this wasn't a faux pas, but another instance that's specific to me is I have a friend who's Korean. And on birthday or, Christmas time, I would give her a gift, and she would say thank you, but she wouldn't open it. Now, when I receive a gift, even at Christmas or any other time, I'm excited to open it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. That's probably 99% of the population, but the Asians do not. They do that stuff in private. So it's not, it's acceptable to them to not open it in front of you.
Yeah.
You want to see the person's reaction,
Yeah.
whether they like it, whether they can use it, etc. But no. And I'm sure there are many others, but those are just two instances. So having these kinds of activities go on where people talk to one another from different cultures.
So we can educate ourselves so that learn.
Yes, you become more culturally aware.
Yep.
And, I'm trying to think, because I've done an extensive amount of traveling. And I don't think I've ever committed any real atrocities. What I enjoy is, using the language in the different countries that I go to, languages that I can speak. I'm not that great at German, but Italian, French, and Spanish I can handle. I mean, this is Eurocentric.
Yeah.
I'm not a great Mandarin speaker, and I have not yet been to the Far East, Far East. I've been to Eurasia, but not to the Far East or Africa. Or I haven't been to South America. But what people appreciate, as anyone that travels knows, is, you making an effort to
Yeah.
speak their language and, not think like them, but talk with them.
Yeah.
Because usually, Americans have a reputation of traveling and expecting to find
Yeah.
things the same as they would in the United States, and they're not.
Yeah.
That's why, over the years, I've had many students comment on, things about language, which I would say, well, listen, it's just different. It's not the way we do it, but it's their way. You have to learn their way. Your way is not better than
Yep.
theirs. Their way is not better than ours. It's just a different way. And so when you promote that understanding, it increases, I'm not bragging, but I have a Fulbright. Part of that is given. You are Senator Fulbright was senator from Arkansas, who devoted large sums of money to these scholarships to students who would become like diplomats, in the countries that they were studying in.
Yeah.
So that's just another part of diplomacy. It's all about relationships, let's just say that.
Yeah.
So, well, it's very good. Any closing remarks, something you would like to just encourage people to do, want people to know? You've got excellent ideas, and I'm excited to see them all come to fruition.
Yeah, I'm sure I can just end off, but the class of 2024 is just aiming to support our staff and students to create a more inclusive and equitable environment at Falmouth High School and beyond into the community. And I wrote this quote, it's called "Getting Over Your Fear of Talking About Diversity" by Daisy Auger Dominguez. So it says, "Show courage not just in what you ask, but in how you listen. Suspend your judgment, reduce your instincts to respond reactively, and take time to deeply reflect on what your people are telling you. Demonstrate your interest in the other person's answers and check to make sure you're understanding them. As a leader, you need to be careful in the words you use, but do not let your fear replace your curiosity. Educate yourself on the issues of women, people of color, people with disabilities, LGBTQ+, religious minorities, and other marginalized groups faced."
Very good. And I guess when I hear things like that, I think of something I saw recently, which is a quote by Jimmy Carter, who says, I can't remember all of it, but part of it is we are not, in the world, we are not a melting pot, we are a mosaic.
Yes.
So that blends, that gives you that sense of blending, the different cultures and different peoples throughout the globe into one tapestry? I guess we could
One
call it that.
masterpiece,
One
yes.
masterpiece. There you go. Very good, Tegan. Very good. Okay. Well, thank you for spending time here with me today
Yeah,
and
thank
taking
you for
time
having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I enjoy having guests because we learn, a lot of different things like such as your ideas. And every year, if we have a new teacher, I invite them to, participate because the community gets to know who they are, and they, can talk about themselves and their classes and what they hope to accomplish. And so it's just a good medium. And Mr. Weber is kind enough to do all the taping and
Yes.
posting. And I'd like to thank Tegan Lynn for being my guest today on Ciao Falmouth. As you can see in here, she has a lot of ideas about bringing more diversity and pulling together or having all the disparate groups in the building come together as one global community, which is what we're after in a world language. And I'm glad she has all those initiatives. So we'll look forward to the rest of this year and having her promote her ideas. And in the coming years, we hope she will be also president as junior and senior year and can carry out all her, ideas and initiatives. And so at this time, I would just like to say, this is Pat DePillo again for Ciao, and thank you for joining me for this edition of Ciao Falmouth. And we'll see you next time.